I am joined by Mikki Mase, and if you guys don't know, you've been missing the Hustler Casino live stream because, first of all, Mikki, you very famously bluffed Garrett Adelstein in like the craziest, sickest spot that had the whole poker community talking. I feel like we have to at least get that out of the way. It was a really crazy bluff, but this is kind of like in line with your style.
I want to say like that hand was really fun, and it just seemed like a great bluff spot. To be honest, if the cards came my way, then I have the virtual nuts, and if they don't, I figure I have a lot of maneuverability for a good bluff. I'm actually not such a massive bluffer, but there was so much exposure on that hand. It was like tens of millions of views across all platforms, every channel, that it just sort of became like this behavior that was attached to me with bluffing. But to be honest with you, I'm not such a wild man bluffer as that one hand made me out to be.
I call. I don't even know if I believe this right now. Okay, well, so for those who don't know, he's got a really famous Instagram. You're notorious as a gambler and as like an advantage gambler, which we all know. Everyone in the poker world, I think generally we like to say that if you play table games, you are for sure losing. You are never having an advantage, with the exception of we've had this situation with Phil and his girl. But you have got the receipts. If you guys want to do the deep dive, this guy's got the receipts. Please explain to anyone in the world, how can you have an advantage in Baccarat? It's amazing.
Well, I think I'm not going to give my exact strategy or the exact details, but I'll say that it's not impossible. I'm not the smartest man in the world, but I was able to pick on a few keynote behaviors and characteristics of cards, as well as the marketing and the development of certain games in a casino. So if you can do a little reverse engineering to figure out how they have created their edge and how they stand behind it, then it's not impossible to say that you can work that to your advantage.
So how did you find yourself in this space to begin with?
Well, I've been like a sick degenerate gambler for
We're familiar.
25 plus years. Since I was a little kid. Thick bloodline of gamblers, so it was always something I was around. My neighborhood was, all like mobsters and wealthy Jews, and so illegal gambling was something super prevalent my entire life. I always saw myself as slightly better than my friends. I didn't know if it's because they didn't care as much or because I excelled in math, and math is one of my strongest courses. I do math for fun. It's something I enjoy doing as a hobby. Something I often do is, instead of doodling or playing games on my phone, is I create math problems that I would assume are unsolvable and then try to reverse engineer the problem to find the solution. So I always found myself to be better at math than most of my friends. I found myself to be better at, the games we were playing in these underground casinos. As I got older and I started to make more money in business outside of gambling, I had more money to fund my gambling. I wasn't always a profitable gambler. I was just like a sick degenerate. And then as I started gambling high enough stakes that it was worth paying attention to is when I really took a deep dive into the games itself that I was playing until I can try to find the best solution to help me maximize my edge.
So it's interesting because I think you also have sort of a notorious like lifestyle. People are very much, I think, interested in it. You've got like the Dan Bilzerian vibe thing, very cool IG. But also, where does one even begin with that? How did you start this sort of just like wild boy, crazy lifestyle? You think it's connected to the degenerate gambling?
I think that a lot of the characteristics in like sick degenerate gamblers carry into their lifestyle all the way around. I've lived this way for most of my life, but I was always super anonymous. I never had social media. I never shared my information with anybody. I wasn't big on giving my cell phone number out. And it worked for me to live off grid. That was really where I was comfortable. I had my immediate group of friends, and that's what I was comfortable with. When COVID happened and all the casinos shut down, I was living in some of the secret villas inside the casinos, and the executive said, you have to go back home to LA. And I went back to my house in LA, and I was so bored that at the time I was still friends with some of the casino owners. And they said, you should start an Instagram. And I said, I don't know. And they said to me that they thought that it'd be really entertaining and fun for me to do, because not only am I one of the few people in history that know that this life of high stakes gambling exists, but out of all the ones that do, they're mostly like older billionaire men, and I'm basically the youngest that has been introduced to the level I've been in gambling. And he thought that it'd be really fun for me to do and entertaining for the masses. I was sort of convinced to give it a shot. I immediately went viral. Once I started going viral, all the A-listers everyone from Drake to Lil Baby and Kevin Hart, and the list goes on, indefinitely. But all these people started reaching out to me, saying,
They're like, let's go gamble.
Yeah, we're going to gamble anyway. So it's like if you're playing basketball and Steph Curry's on your team, there's not a guarantee he's going to make all the shots, but for sure he's a better chance than you.
Yeah, that's so wild. And so we've seen you here playing, I mean, tournament poker is, it's a gamble for sure, slightly less stakes. But you told me that you kind of have this Spencer kid who, I will put some links in here, you guys. If you want to just do the deep dive that I just did before this interview, you can. And you said the sort of wrap up, the culmination of Spencer's deep dive into you, which started with him trying to disprove you, is now that he put you into a WSOP event.
Yeah, so Spencer, by trade, is a YouTube investigator, and I think he's excellent at doing that. He comes from a place of neutrality and unbiased, and he's impartial. So before he and I had ever met, he did like this big expose video on me, and I thought it was really well articulated based on the information he had, but I knew he was lacking a lot.
A couple weeks ago, someone sent me an Instagram account that claimed to be helping people win millions gambling at the casinos. I decided to check it out to see if it's legit.
I reached out the same day that the video released. I said, why don't we meet? I'll give you full access to anything you want, make a second video, this way you can confirm either I am illegitimate or I am legitimate. And obviously he went with the latter, and he confirmed I am legitimate. So I'm going to do something I've never done before, and I'm going to show you live on the air some of my casino
Looking forward to it.
So you can see my full name here.
Yep.
Right, I'm logged in.
Within one of the casino apps, he was able to pull up the year 2020 tax statements that showed his win and loss statement. The number on the screen I saw was profit.
So that's from 2020. I'm letting you know this is nothing in comparison to what I did in 2021.
Fair. That's a very big number.
And then we actually proceeded to make a third video, which should be coming out in about a week or so, where he's, after looking at all my paperwork again with a fine-tooth comb, he decided to stake me into the World Series of Poker.
And unfortunately, that didn't play out, but that...
It's true, I definitely busted, but I had a lot of fun doing it. Tournament poker is a beast all by itself, different than cash games. It'd almost be like comparing no limit hold'em cash to PLO cash, no limit tournament to no limit cash. And regardless, I had a lot of fun. He also had fun, and that's really it. We're just glad that we can get some more information out there.
Well, finally, I just want to know what part, I've watched plenty of your videos, and you do say that you play in some of these more exclusive underground cash games. What role really does poker play in your gambling life as a whole?
I'm actually not the biggest fan of poker. I'm just a sick degenerate, and I'm rich now, so I don't really know what else to do sometimes. And the social life that it brings me is really worth whatever price I have to pay to get in. But while I've been doing it, I decided to fine-tune my game, and I've absolutely been improving in a way that I'm confident in, and I feel very solid with, and it's just been a lot of fun, and I'd say it plays more of a role in my social life than it does my financial life.
So you have a gambling coach, but you don't have a poker coach.
I have poker coaches. Some of my closest friends make up some of the newest generation's World Series of Poker bracelet holders. A lot of them prefer...
Did the same thing. They DM'd you and they were like, we want to slide into that lifestyle?
No, we met at cash games, and they said, as far as gamblers go, you have the perfect behavioral characteristics to become an excellent poker player, and we'd like to fine-tune that and be able to put our name on that one day. And I said, let's do it.
Let's do it, but also not that much, because it's a lot of work. Anyways, I really appreciate you taking the time. It was awesome to finally meet you.
Yeah, pleasure.
Thank you guys so much. You're with us here on Poker News.